Welcome to the Winners in Business podcast, where we celebrate and learn from those who turn their dreams into success stories. I'm your host for this episode, Jeff Davis, where each week we sit down with business leaders, entrepreneurs, and innovators who've mastered the art of winning in today's competitive world. After all, this is Winners in Business, where winning is more than just a goal, it's a mindset. A huge thanks to our sponsor for supporting this podcast. First, there's Beachfront Custom Development, leaders in software and mobile app development for over 23 years. They've worked with big names like Coca-Cola, Warner Brothers, the NFL, as well as building software and mobile solutions for growth stage companies in industries like healthcare, financial services, education, and gaming. For top quality development at any stage, head over to beachfrontcustomdevelopment.com. And let's not forget Impact Business Marketing. If you're fed up with agencies that overpromise and underdeliver, these guys are the real deal. No contracts, just results. From websites to SEO, online marketing, social media, they've got you covered. Visit impactbusinessmarketing.com. You will not regret it. In every episode, we dive deep into the challenges that many business owners face, whether it's scaling a company, staying ahead in the digital age, or building a strong team. And we uncover the strategies and tools that make overcoming these obstacles possible. Our guests share their battle-tested insights so you can learn how to win in your business no matter the odds. Before we dive in, make sure to follow Winners in Business on your favorite podcast platform and visit us at winnersinbusiness.com for more resources, exclusive content, and updates. Let's get into it. Today I have with me Rich Shinnick, who owns Touchstone Security. Thank you so much for being here. It's exciting to pick inside of your brain as a successful entrepreneur who's grown your business to the size that you have. First thing I'd love to know is, what do you attribute your growth to?
I think the number one thing is experience, right? I've been a business owner since 1998, and over the years I've learned what to do, what not to do, how to do things, what to avoid, that sort of thing. And, like any business owner will probably tell you, it's very hard work. It's just dedicated, passionate, hard work.
Yeah, for sure. So you've had a lot of experiences, I'm sure, great experiences and painful experiences. If you took all those experiences that you've had over the years and you were coming into a brand new, totally different business, knowing what you know now, what would be some of the first things that you think that you'd look into to start doing to start growing that new business?
So one of the ideal scenarios for a business owner is to work on the business, not in the business. But when you start a new business, you're usually selling something that you either produce in a form of a product or a service, and you're the labor component of that delivery. And that eats up your time as a business owner to be able to focus on networking and marketing and following up on sales and things like that. So the biggest challenge for me and my companies in the past has been, how do I balance my time between, in the beginning, working in the business, delivering services, doing whatever it is to run the business, and then working on the business where I'm actually developing, strategizing, and implementing, process and procedure and things like that.
Right. Yeah, you can only get so far when you're still involved in so many aspects of the business stuff.
Absolutely. I'll add one other thing, if I may. An executive assistant. An executive assistant is instrumental, and it takes a while to get that person up to speed in doing things for you. But the ability to delegate the tasks that one would consider working in the business, first and foremost, is a high priority for me. getting that person to be able to do the things that are not as valuable of my time versus me working on the business, growing the business, implementing all the
Yeah.
things that need to be put in place, promoting marketing and sales, etc. And then the second thing I would add is intimate involvement in your finances. You really do need to have KPIs, key performance indicator measurements. You need to really understand where the money's going, how it's coming in, how it's being spent. And then lastly, I'd add culture, right? I'm a firm believer in culture. I believe that it has major impact on retention, on the happiness of your employees, their productivity, your reputation, and so on.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you've gotten to see sort of behind the scenes of a lot of different businesses, right? What do you think most business owners do wrong?
I would say not having a full appreciation of their finances, particularly their expenses, and then secondarily, the profitability of certain services or product offerings that they have, and then also understanding your client, understanding your market, your target persona. If you don't understand the target persona that you're selling to, if you don't understand what clients value you and your service or your product the most, then you're not strategically marketing towards the best type of clients for you.
And how do you find
You
out
have
who
to
are
be able to.
clients? How do you do that?
Well, a variety of ways. One is KPIs, measuring, understanding the finances behind it. You could do surveys with your clients. You can talk to your clients. You can analyze the projects or the purchasing habits of your clients. Get to know what they like, what they don't like, this sort of thing. Meet with your clients. Have account managers if it's not you, because it shouldn't, right? You should be working on it, not in it. But you
Yeah.
should have account managers that are communicating with your clients periodically and really getting honest feedback from them. And if you make a mistake, being able to admit it to your client, let them know, hey, we made this mistake. We're falling down here, and this is what we're doing about it to get it rectified. Communication, right? I think
Yeah.
is important. Also, analyzing your competitors, right? Do you have a lot of competitors? Are you in a commoditized environment? Are there opportunities for growth? Maybe there's an area that there isn't a lot of competition that you could focus on and grow quicker because of the lack of competition in a given space. Also, maybe there is a new type of service that you can offer and cross sell into your client base.
Okay. I mean, you
So be
sound like
creative, in other words.
Yeah, you sound like you're, a student of business, I'm sure from just all the experience, but also are there any books that have been influential to you that you've read or listened to?
Well, I would probably attribute most of my experience and knowledge from joining a business owners group. And one in particular that I'm very fond of is one called Entrepreneurs Organization, otherwise known as EO. There are plenty of them out there. But being amongst peers, right, as a business owner, we're kind of lonely, right? Because most people that I know in the past anyway were people that weren't business owners, right? Most people are not business owners. And so when I joined these different groups, particularly EO, it's all business owners. And so I start to frequent with them. I start to get to know them. I get very intimate with them. I have what we call forum meetings once a month with eight of these business owners. And so what I wind up building is camaraderie, friendships, relationships, and a network of business owners so that when I come across challenges, because that's what business is all about as a business owner, it's all the challenges that you're dealing with. And being able to have a sounding board
Yeah.
of like-minded individuals is very key to my success in my 20 plus years of being a business owner. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind about that.
Yeah, no individual business owner is as smart as a whole group of business owners. You are definitely preaching to the choir there. I'm a 12 Mavens man myself personally. But yeah, there are a lot of great groups for business leaders. If you could go back in time to when you first started out and say one thing to younger you, what would you say?
I would say 100% you must have legal contracts in place between you and a business partner if you do go into business with a business partner. Have
Mm,
clearly defined and agreeable direction. Have a 5-year plan and clear roles and responsibilities. I had a very ugly falling out with a partner of one of my businesses, and it
okay.
was a very, very hard lesson. So I would say that, and I should have joined EO sooner than I did.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard it too, where it's like they're best friends since the college days for 30 years, and it's like, still get it in writing. Um,
Absolutely, there's no question
yeah,
about it. Make it clear. Have nothing left to question.
yeah, yeah.
And
Look at
and
all the
you could do it from you could get it as cheap as $2,500. Maybe you spend more. Um, you want to get a decent one that tries to address all possible scenarios of challenge, expect the worst and make sure it's covered, and then have sort of like an umbrella clause that will basically cover anything that's not covered in the agreement.
mm,
Like maybe have mediation and it's this law group or something like that.
right.
Just
Yeah,
definitely have it. There's no
yeah.
question to have it.
Hmm. I've been having more and more conversations with other CEOs about the different ways that AI is impacting the business in a lot of ways that nobody saw coming. How's AI impacting the way that you run and manage the business? Or is it?
So I have been so busy with growth. I've been trying to keep up with what's happening in the world of AI and how others are using it. And I'm actually learning from my wife, quite frankly. She's a realtor, and they're using AI to rewrite certain things, such as when they post their home that they're listing, when they list a home and describe the home, they're using it as simple as to write the description that meets the goals that they want on there. So
Mm,
I think also in my field, cybersecurity, security software is leveraging AI, and I am behind the eight ball on that. Quite frankly, I am trying to keep up with it, but I'm so overwhelmed right now with growing the company
yeah.
that
Awesome.
it's been a struggle for me. But there's no question that if I don't get myself in gear on that one, I'm going to fall behind. So I have to embrace it. I have to get ahead of it. I know I
Yeah.
do, and it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, yeah, probably less time than we think till some of these massive changes are happening. Are there any technological changes that you see on the horizon in your particular industry that you think people should be prepared for?
So in the cyber world, any company that has computers, which is probably all of them, you have to worry about being hacked, being ransomed, right? That sort of thing. And AI is an attack vector, right? It's a surface area that hackers are going to take advantage of. And if you look at what's happening with companies like Microsoft, they're forcing AI on upon everyone, right? Every time you turn around, there's another widget being installed on your computer, Copilot, and all of these other AI driven technologies. When you go to a website, there's an AI bot. It's just like it's in your face on your phone. It's there, right? So that's another attack vector. And since it's young technology, it's going to be vulnerable. So, from my perspective in my field, which is cybersecurity, AI is a threat, and I have to be sure that we're addressing AI in everything I do with my clients.
Got it. Well, I mean, you've been super busy growing your business, and that can be it can wear you down sometimes. You get tired from just that constant growth. What gets you still excited about your company? Is there anything in particular that you're doing to, you know, reach the next thing you're envisioning for the future?
It's a great question. So I'm just naturally inquisitive. I've always been since as far back as I can remember as a kid. And the thing about technology is it's ever changing. And the most successful people in technology are the ones that always want to learn. So for me in my industry, I self motivate simply because I like new things. I get bored quickly with something that's repetitive. So my industry is constantly changing, and that's what motivates me. Another thing that motivates me is, basically trying to be a successful person and be financially successful for my future. And so money does motivate me. It motivates me considerably. And then I guess family, because I do have one of my children works for me full time, and I'm looking. I'm 61 years old, so I'm looking to build up my retirement funds. So that's a motivator for me. I did start relatively early, but not early enough. I didn't start planning until like my late 20s, early 30s. But I think that all of these motivators keep me going, and then just sharing with other entrepreneurs their success and then wanting to be with them in their success and my own success helps me motivate as well.
Yeah. What questions should I be asking you that I haven't yet?
Well, let me ask you a question for me to answer that one, which is who is the ideal person or persona who will consume this call that we're having, this interaction?
Business owners, yeah, a variety of different types of business owners.
So I would say, starting your own business is scary. There are there are ways of getting financing and lines of credit to carry you through the beginnings. It's always nice to have a client or two who wants to leverage what you're going to be selling in your new business and be committed to you. That's a comfort to have that. And being in tune with your finances, because the biggest challenge with new businesses is 90% of new businesses fail. And why do they fail? They run out of money, right? And why did they run out of money? Well, then we can continue the conversation. So
Please keep going. Keep
being
going. This is great.
right, so not knowing where you are with money is the big problem. So you kind of need to understand what it's costing you to deliver a service. What's your profitability on that service? Are you collecting from your clients, or are they not paying? Do you have a good agreement, master services agreement, a legal document, so to speak, that they sign, saying that they'll pay you and they're buying X, Y, and Z?
Hmm.
Understanding insurance, what type of insurance, how much insurance as you grow your business. All of these things you really need to have in place, and then having a passion for the business so that people see that, people believe in you, you have confidence, and they'll buy from you. And then you grow the company that way.
Yeah.
So I'd say for beginners, that's the biggest hurdle. Once you get past that, then it's a matter of really sticking to your mission, right? Your plan. What is it that you want to do in the next 3 5 years? How are you going to do that? How are you going to go about that? And
Yeah.
are you measuring it? Are you wasting time on things that are not resulting in high profit margins versus not seeing the high profit margins of other things that you're doing or maybe wanting to do?
Yeah, I mean, you've mentioned a couple of times really knowing the numbers and on the finance side, and knowing a lot of entrepreneurs. I know we are usually the visionaries, the ideas people, and a lot of times ADHD type of a brain, like ideas, and not so much on like what you're talking about, the discipline of really looking into all those things, like what does it cost, what are our expenses, how do we break that down? Do you have any advice, maybe like, even getting a little bit granular and tactical on what a business leader watching this, who's maybe strong on the marketing, maybe strong on sales, maybe strong on leadership, but really just like that financial piece, any advice on something that they could do?
Sure. So, absolutely. So, I can split it up into two buckets, right?
Okay.
A service, which is labor, or a product, which is software or hardware, right? Something not relating to labor. Even though there may be labor to create the product, you're actually selling a widget, right? So when you look at the
Right.
services component, where you're paying a salary or you're paying 1099s, right? You have to look at, okay, what margin am I making on an hour of this labor? So if it costs me, whether a full-time employee or 1099, if it costs me $50 an hour for that person, in my business, I need to make $50 up an hour on that person's labor. So $100 an hour is what I charge my client. If the employee or 1099 costs me $100 an hour, then I would charge 150. So that's my litmus test for the amount of dollars that I'm making per hour on an individual. But there's a second piece to that. And the second piece is I need to get anywhere from 1,100 to 1,500 hours a year of billable time from that full-time employee. So there's 2,080 hours in a year, and you have vacation time, holidays, sick time, these sorts of things. So when you back that out, you're somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,500. Now, 1,500 is, fully engaged, right? That's 44 weeks. You have that individual billing 40-hour weeks. It's unreasonable to consider that in most instances because there's unbillable or non-billable admin things that they may do, right? They have to fill out what they did so you can put it on an invoice and bill the client, right? That takes time. They may need to get trained. They may need to commute. They may need to do things in preparation to deliver a service to a client. But at an average, if you're, in my opinion, having employees that are billing less than, say, 1,200 hours a year, there's something wrong with either the employee, the company, the process and procedure, or something. Something's not right. So I'm looking at billable hours. I want my 40-hour week for that individual to be 85% billable. That's what I want. In the product side of it, or the non-service side of it, you're selling a widget or what have you, software, whatever you're selling, your profit margins actually need to be higher. I like to see that 35 to 50%, but it's very industry specific, right? There are some industries that you're looking at interest rates, profit margins of like 5 or 6%, razor thin. So in the case of products, and I sell software and hardware, but I'm not really in that industry. So it's very industry specific as well. So you really need to understand the profitability of your industry to be competitive and to make money because you're carrying the paper. And what I mean by that is you sell the product to the client and then maybe you give them net 30 days to pay and maybe they don't pay in net 30. And so how are you dealing with the cost of money, right? Because there's interest rates associated with cash flow. Again, it comes back to that financial thing that I mentioned. That's where I focus a lot of. I know where my finances are. I don't necessarily spend a lot of time on it right now because I've learned over the years how to optimize my time, and I'm really in tune with my finances. But my invoices go out a day or two after the new month, right? My employees put their time in every day for what they did that's billable to clients. I do not let them go 3-4 days without putting their time in. They forget what they did. Oh, they may write it down. Okay, are they really accurate with what they write down? Because when I invoice my clients, which I only do monthly, some people do weekly, there needs to be substance there. There needs to be something that substantiates the 4 or 8 or 20 hours that the client's getting billed for. And so the engineer or the individual, the employee, needs to have some decent prose, if you will, to explain the service they provided. And you don't want to lose that information. So you have to be on top of it. I don't know why it is. I've been in this industry for 40 plus years. I still do hours myself as an employee, as a business owner. I have written down what I've done every day for probably 35 years in
Wow.
some software system somewhere. Lotus Notes way back when, and now I use a system called ConnectWise. So time reporting for billing purposes is crucial. It has to be a priority. It has to be ingrained in the culture because you lose money if you don't capture that, because the engineer may not report all of the time because he, in his mind, can't substantiate, did I really just do that much and I'm going to bill 8 hours? Oh, maybe I should only put 6 hours, right? So you really need to be on top of that. And then that substantiates invoicing on time, and it diminishes that window of cash flow, right? Because if you're invoicing on time, then the net 30 clock starts. Maybe you don't do net 30, maybe you do net 15, whatever it might be. But if you're postponing your invoicing because you don't have the time ready, then it's just a nightmare. It's just a nightmare.
Uh, so if you think
Hopefully
back,
that's some
yeah,
good
I mean,
food for the answer.
good food, really, that's a feast if they go back and listen to that one more time. There are a couple takeaways in there, actually. When you think about your 40-year journey from startup to you're growing so much right now that you barely have time for anything other than, handling the growth that's happening, what advice would you give to business leaders who are kind of maybe at a plateau and looking to get to the next level?
So one mistake that I've made a couple of times is hiring fast and firing slow. You want to hire very slowly and fire fast. And it's easily said, challenging to do.
Yeah.
So when you're hiring, the hiring process should be hard. That means you're working at it, right? You're definitely doing a really good job at defining the requirements, putting a job description together, understanding what it is you want from an individual. You should have a mission statement, a vision statement in your company. You should understand the culture. You should have, these things already in place. There's so many companies out there and organizations that do seminars on this stuff. There's myriad of books, and there's systems out there like EOS and scaling up. There's a variety of systems that you can leverage, but I think it's important that you have that in place so that when you're hiring, you're getting the right people on the bus. It's crucial. There's another system called top grading where you get rid of the lower 20% every year. So there are systems, right, for growing the company when it comes to people, which are what companies are. Companies are conglomerates
What's it?
of people working together. So I think
Yeah.
that, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what's an aha moment that you've had
You,
recently as far as finding good people in your hiring process?
um,
Because it's so hard.
an
It's
aha moment.
harder than ever right now to find good people.
Absolutely. And the gig economy also is challenging because nobody really wants to have one job. They want to have multiples. There's no
Right.
real serious loyalty, it seems.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
It's changed.
Not
Yeah.
sure if
I
I've had an aha moment, quite
yeah.
frankly.
You just a lot of experience
Well,
in hiring.
so I'd say the best people that I've hired have been students of mine when I taught at Columbia and New York University. So if you can do seminars or any sort of class work, if you're okay with getting in front of a classroom of people in your
Mhm.
industry, it could be even just a vocational school or something like that. I've found that after a course of 13 or 14 sessions, maybe 13, 14 weeks, however long it is, I am pretty intimate with all the students in the class
Mhm.
and their abilities
Mhm.
to absorb the material, their
Mhm.
attitudes, the way they do homework, their communication
Right.
skills. I'm able to vet them over 13,
Yeah.
14 weeks,
Yeah.
and now I have been building
Work
up,
ethic.
and that is where that's where I've gotten my best employees have
Mhm.
been students. Not easy for everyone to do this. I get it, but that's, I
Yeah.
guess, my aha moment.
Yeah, I think some people watching this are probably like, what university can I start being a part-time professor at for recruiting talent? Um, any,
Yeah, or it could be a community college, or it could even be like a vocational school, or even a training organization,
yeah,
right? In
and you
your
can get
industry,
paid, and
understanding your.
you bet, yeah, you could be recruiting talent and getting paid as a little side thing at the same time.
I will
Um,
tell you though, the pay is awful. I'm not in it for the money. The pay is
yeah,
terrible.
I get it. That's fair. Any parting words of advice for other business leaders who are looking to grow?
I would say probably to make an effort to reach out to networking groups. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Um, be vulnerable to others in your industry who are who are entrepreneurs, and share. Sharing your experience, I think, is the best way to get accepted and closer to others who will then will be willing to get closer to you and to share their experiences. And that's the way I learn. And they'll remember you, and that might be a referral opportunity, right? When you connect with someone, and connecting is an emotional thing, it's a human emotional thing, right? And if you're vulnerable to somebody, they look at you like, wow, that person trusted me to share that with me. And so I find that, I think, in those ways, you build your network, and that's always helpful when you're building a company.
Awesome. Thanks for listening today as we uncovered the hidden potential of knowing your financials and what you as a business owner can do now to take advantage of it. We also talked about hiring and firing, which can make all the difference for business owners who are capitalizing on this trend of it being harder and harder to find good people. So special thanks to our guest, Rich Shinnick. And be sure to join us again next time as we have open and candid discussions with winners in business. Bye for now.